Welcome back to Maggie and Macha. Glad you're back. So what happens after the voting is finished? In the last video, part 1 of election day, I left you with people waiting in line to vote, and then Joseph Musanji, who was the current MP, Member of Parliament, was waiting to find out whether he had won also. I'll just tag that video here so that you can watch that one first before you continue this one. Now, what was happening after the election? So some people were posting things on Facebook that were not true. And so if you opened your Facebook page or any page, you had all these conflicting things. So there were people saying, beware of what you're hearing. And it's interesting because in 2021, during the election, after the election, they turned off all internet. So we didn't have any means of communicating with anybody. But this time, HH decided not to do that. So as the results were coming in, they would have times when on television they would have somebody sitting there from various different constituencies around the country giving their results. So this is what it sounded like. I went to my friend's house again this time, and we just chatted and watched the results come in.
UPND 5,388, 5,388. Munduvire Brian M, NRPUP 6,710, 6,710.
Of course, it wasn't the most exciting thing on television, but my friend's ears would perk up whenever it was a constituency where HH wasn't really strong because, of course, she was rooting for him, and she wanted to know by how much Brian Mundubile was ahead. So then she would listen. But yeah, as you can see, the big debate was the center of the country because one side was red, one side was blue, and it was just a question of what would the center do and who would get swayed the most. People under the age of 30 had a big part in voting. 70% of them cast their ballots, so that was interesting, and you can read this if you want, all about it. But yeah, you can see how throughout the weekend, little by little, they would put out the results. And so eventually, I think it was Monday evening, they put out their last results, and it turned out that at 2 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday morning, now remember, voting was done on Thursday, and now it's Tuesday morning at 2 a.m., we heard the cheering and the music for the rest of the night. I mean, we didn't sleep very well because of it, but that's just part of the celebration that Southern Province was going through because their guy had won the election. And if you look at the chart, barely anyone in the Southern Province didn't vote for him. So, of course, he had a lot of backing. And the next day when I went around Macha, everyone was wearing their HH shirts and chitenges. And then I also found out that Musanji won and took his district. And so, of course, I had to do the Bali wave. So for those of you who don't know what the Bali wave is, Bali is what they call HH. And then he waves, putting his hand forward like this, signifying that the country is moving forward. So praying for Zambia as they go forward under HH for another 5 years. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.